Live, local, now. This is the news at Daybreak.
Right now, let's take a live look at Las Vegas, where just more than 24 hours ago, dozens of people lost their lives in what is now the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history.
That's right. Well, the death toll is at 59 this morning, more than 520 also injured. Now, families of the suspected shooter are talking about the man they thought they knew. Reaction is also coming in from across the country, including right here in the Coastal Empire.
We will have more information on the shooter's background as well as what was found inside of his hotel room in just a few minutes. But first, we want to get a check of the weather conditions right now in the Coastal Empire and Low Country.
And we are starting out with some warm temperatures this morning.
Well, authorities are still trying to figure out what motivated 64-year-old Stephen Paddock to rain bullets down on thousands of concert goers. Now, police say he took his own life before law enforcement was able to reach him on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay. Paddock had been a guest at the hotel since Thursday. Police found 23 guns inside of his hotel room. They also discovered 19 guns and several thousand rounds of ammunition in his home in Mesquite, Nevada. Now, in addition to the ammonium nitrate found in his car, which is used to make explosive. Once all of this was revealed, Paddock's brother could not believe what he heard.
He's never even drawn his gun. It makes no sense. He's never hit anybody. He's never...
Gun enthusiast or just
never.
A few?
Well, he had a couple of handguns, I think. He had a safe with a couple of handguns. He might have had one long rifle, but he didn't have any. He had no automatic weapons that I knew of at any time.
Paddock was a retired accountant, and family members say he recently was a professional gambler who won large jackpots. He was not known to law enforcement in Las Vegas.
And police are now saying they're no longer looking for a person of interest in the shooting. Police say this woman, Mary Lou Danley, was not in the U.S. when the shooting happened. Well, Danley lived with Paddock at his home in Mesquite, Nevada, but authorities don't believe she was involved. Police believe the shooting was a lone wolf type of incident.
Several victims from this mass shooting have now been identified. Susan Smith of California was one of the dozens of people killed. The elementary school office manager was at the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival with friends. She was married with 2 young adult children. Her daughter posted a message on Facebook thanking everyone for their thoughts and prayers.
And we're also getting reaction from the political world on this tragedy. President Donald Trump and the First Lady will visit Las Vegas tomorrow. They held a moment of silence for the victims at the White House lawn on Monday. The moment of silence started with the ring of a bell, and the president was seen bowing his head. They're also joined by dozens of White House staffers, but before this, the president issued a solemn address calling for unity and giving his condolences. He also condemned the shooter.
It was an act of pure evil. Our unity cannot be shattered by evil. Our bonds cannot be broken by violence. And though we feel such great anger at the senseless murder of our fellow citizens, it is our love that defines us today and always will, forever.
The White House has ordered that all flags be flown at half-staff on federal buildings. And former President Barack Obama issuing a statement on the shooter via Twitter. 44th president saying, Michelle and I are praying for the victims in Las Vegas. Our thoughts are with their families and everyone enduring another senseless tragedy.
Well, landmarks across the country and around the world paying tribute to the victims in Las Vegas. The Eiffel Tower went dark last night to honor them. In New York City, the spire of One World Trade Center was lit with a single orange band.
Religious leaders, elected officials, and mourners coming together for multiple prayer vigils in Las Vegas. Several faith leaders led the group in prayer outside of City Hall. The crowd later joined in song and held candles. One person saying, this is something that no one should have to go through.
Like, it shouldn't have been no way that this man had access to all the things that he had. And to take innocent lives is just really unfortunate. And I've never been close to anything like this in my life. So it's really, really scary. Like, it's very, very scary.
The vigils were among a number of memorials being held around the country.
Well, back in Savannah, a vigil was held downtown calling for an end to the violence. Now, First City Network hosted the event at the LGBT Center on Bull Street. It was a small turnout given the quick setup, but the man who helped organize the event said once he heard the news, he felt like it was September 11th.
It was just sad, and no one in this whole world needs to have that kind of pressure put on them where you can't go outside to mow your own lawn. State, the country, never have to light a vigil candle again.
He also hoped the vigil provided a message of support and sympathy.
We spoke with many people who turned on their TV in the morning and learned about the shooting. They tell us immediately made them think, what would I do in this situation? Well, that thought making many people want to avoid the risk altogether. Well, a local counselor says this could happen to anyone, anywhere, but living in fear is the worst option.
Well, much more. The Las Vegas Massacre a little later in the show. During the 6:30 hour of Daybreak, we'll tell you about a NASCAR driver with ties to South Carolina who was in Las Vegas when the shooting happened, plus what we're learning about the father of the Las Vegas gunman.
Be sure to visit WTOC.com where you can find more information about the investigation, as well as reaction from those who experienced this first-hand shooting.
Well, Tybee Island sand dunes took a hit following Hurricane Matthew and Tropical Storm Irma.
The island has been looking to rebuild those dunes for quite some time, but the storms delayed maintenance from happening. Our Jarvis Robinson joining us now live from Tybee Island this morning. So, Jarvis, when can we expect this project to get underway?
Tasia, sooner than you would actually think, although Hurricane Irma did cause some delays, they're not giving up on getting things restored here on Tybee Beach. Now, having those...
I was a part of a crowd of people who were running for safety.
Sightseeing down the Vegas Strip turns into survival for one television news anchor. She ended up running for cover along with thousands of other people. We have her story up next.
And now let's take a live look from our WTOC Dozier Law Riverfront Skycam. First Alert meteorologist Dave Turley will be back with your weather.
Taking a look at some of this morning's top stories, police say they found 23 guns inside of the hotel room of the gunman behind the Las Vegas Massacre. An additional 19 guns were found inside Stephen Paddock's home in Mesquite, Nevada. His relatives are in shock that he's the man responsible for the deaths of 59 people. He was not known to Las Vegas law enforcement for the shooting, and police do not know why he carried out the attack.
The man behind the hit songs Free Fallin' and Refugee has passed away. Tom Petty passed away at the age of 66 after going into cardiac arrest. Well, back in 2002, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
President Trump will visit hurricane-ravaged Puerto Rico today. Officials say only 5% of the island has electricity and less than half has clean drinking water. The governor says the wait time at gas stations has decreased from 7 hours to less than an hour.
Looking at a little bit of shower activity outside now on that First Alert radar.
New details are emerging about the Las Vegas gunman's father.
That's right. Stephen Paddock's father, Benjamin Paddock, was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. Well, he was wanted for robbing several banks in Phoenix, Arizona during the late 1950s and the early 60s. Well, eventually he was arrested in Las Vegas. He escaped jail in Texas, fled to California, and changed his name to Bruce Erickson. He then ended up in Springfield, Oregon in 1977 to open up a bingo parlor, but police say the parlor was a criminal enterprise for gambling.
He preyed on, vulnerable populations, and so associating a criminal enterprise with a religious congregation is a way to grab people, unsuspecting victims.
Well, his father was arrested in Springfield 10 years after his escape. He later was released, and the police do not have a record of his death, but they assume he is no longer alive.
Well, an anchor from our Raycom sister station in Memphis was actually in Las Vegas when the shooting happened. She spoke to WTOC about her experience. Felicia Bolton was with her fiance when the chaos unfolded. They were on the Vegas Strip when they heard gunshots. They quickly became a part of a crowd that was running for safety. She remembers seeing law enforcement responding to the scene.
Immediately, I see several police officers on the street of the Strip. These officers are armored. They also had high-power rifles of some sort in their hands.
Well, thankfully, Felicia and her fiance are okay, but she says the city is still on high alert.
And just nights before the shooting, South Carolina's own Lee Brice played at the same venue. The singer says he's still wrapping his head around what happened. Brice says he reached out to fellow country music star Jake Owen as the shooting was happening. He says shots were fired all over that concert area, even into the singer's tour buses.
For that to happen, for hate to reign in like that with bullets, I can't imagine the fear, and then now the remorse of the families, and I just feel for them, and I'm praying for them so much.
Now, Brice is calling what happened an act of Satan. He believes country music artists and fans will overcome what happened.
A pretty close call for NASCAR driver and Columbia native Jordan Anderson. He wasn't hurt, but he was walking into the Mandalay Bay Casino Hotel just minutes before the shooting took place. Now, his dad, Cliff Anderson, says they all went to dinner Sunday night when Jordan decided to go to the Mandalay Bay right around 10 p.m. Cliff said he received a text from his son at about 10:15 that there was an active shooter nearby, and he said it's after that where things got scary.
We don't know these people that got injured and got killed. They got, some of these are young people away from home. They got moms and dads and, family members that are concerned about them. And again, something like this happens. There's answers, there's why questions in this life we'll never know. But again, we're a faith family, and we believe the Lord will reveal himself through this, and some good will come out of it.
Cliff says he and his family talked about the close call and how grateful they are no one was hurt.
And this was a scene on Monday as people lined up to donate blood outside of the United Blood Bank services in Las Vegas. There were so many people willing to help the injured, the organization had to set up a second location center nearby. The Las Vegas police sheriff made a public call for blood donations. He urged anyone with the ability to donate blood to do so.